Okay, and we're back. Oh God, you know this whole year, we've set up all over the country and done all this stuff, and this whole year has been there's two things that we need to do this show and or Grease and Gears Garage, power and internet. And man, you would think that in this day and age, those two things are completely obtainable, like everywhere, and they're just not.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the wonky thing is we're actually we're in our office
Hardwired.
in Western
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, hardwired, and it went bleh. Maybe
Yeah.
there's an electrical storm outside. I don't know.
Oh, and there could be
never know.
with the stuff
It's
that's.
been hot and humid.
Yep. So anyway, let's go back to the news. Apologize for anybody that was with us there for a minute and we lost, but
We're back.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, are you looking at this? You looking at this self-driving motorcycle?
I
What?
am.
There's
Dude.
nobody on it.
How crazy is that?
It's so
GT,
weird, right?
Shut the front door.
You can
And
just
that's-
watch that over and over again.
Dude, that's as weird. Like, remember when the first remote control motorcycles came out? Do you remember having any of the remote control motorcycle toys?
Oh yeah. I was like, what are you talking? There's a remote control? Yeah,
It's
like the little
as,
ones, the
It's
RC.
as weird as that. You
Uh-huh.
know?
That's I'm sorry, that's kind of creepy looking. If I saw that going down the road, I would probably pull over because I think I was having a stroke or something.
Here's a question: if that was your Uber, would you take it?
For sure. Why not?
Yeah, probably.
You're a brave soul.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I know for a fact, have done crazier things.
Okay, so the point of the story: no one's looking to fill the roads with riderless motorcycles. Rather, BMW sees its autonomous motorcycle as a test bed for technologies that would improve the safety and handling of conventional motorcycles.
Yes.
And
So it's like a rider assist technology.
and part of that I got to say is fantastic, and part of it I have to take the old biker line of never trade freedom for safety.
Sure.
You know, because and I mean, hear me out about this. I was disappointed when they told me when we first rode the what's the front wheel snowmobile looking motorcycle again?
Can-Am.
Yes.
The Spider.
The Spider. We took those for a test ride and we were talking about how we were going to race hell on it. A whole bunch of us, you know, guys from Lead Sled, young rowdies, and they told us that no matter what we did, we couldn't get them up on two wheels. We couldn't break the tires loose. We couldn't do power slides because it had an onboard computer system that as soon as it sensed any of that stuff going on, it would correct itself to keep it from happening.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, just once in a while you want to race hell on your motorcycle. You don't want your motorcycle to tell you no.
Well, and that goes right into not the next piece of news, but there's another pice of news after that that we can maybe get to. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go right to it.
You know, it's an interesting thing when they're so the National Traffic Safety Board, isn't that what that stands for? Is talking about
because
mandating
Hitler Youth was
anti-lock
already
brakes.
taken.
What's that?
I said because the title Hitler Youth was already taken.
Oh man. So it said in a statement that it takes a data-driven, fact-based approach to vehicle safety and will take action as warranted. It said riders need more time to react. They need motorcycles that perform better in a potential emergency. How about on dirt? How about that? How about when I put my bike goes off the side of the road onto the shoulder, and I hit the brakes, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I just keep going. I just keep accelerating. I don't end up slowing down at all.
Now, here's something that I'll say, and I'll play devil's advocate in this, because when Harley first came out with their anti-lock brake system,
Yeah.
it was really interesting. We were at a big press event, and you know, and back then I was one of the younger media people, and everybody was sitting there with raised eyebrows, and we were like, yeah, this is bullshit. You're never going to have a computer on a motorcycle beat the reaction of a seasoned rider, right?
Yeah, right.
And we tried. And I mean, they had a test course set up, man, and 9 times out of 10, that computer would react in a smaller range. There was times where you could beat the computer, but there weren't times where you could consistently operate within a range that was as small as that computer could.
Oh yeah.
So it really changed my mind about that technology. Like I really got on board with the whole anti-lock brake thing when I saw it in scientific application. You know, but you know, again, for the government to come in and mandate things like this, you know,
But especially when there's only like 8% of the motorcycles that are manufactured right now that have ABS on them, you know, that's going to be a whole to do as well, you know, within the industry, you know, having to put ABS on everything. And I think, you know, obviously they can have a switch to shut it off, you know, just like anything. But I think that it's weird when the government starts getting involved in those sorts of things. But, you know, they mandated seatbelts.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
And you know what, man? There's a perfect example. You know, so they mandate seatbelts, but how many years was it from the time that they mandated seatbelts until they actually had manufacturer criteria that would create a zone for the driver of the car to be in with, you know, with crush zones, with airbags, things that really made a capsule that protected the driver rather than just that mandate of a seatbelt.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So it's not. I mean, when you really get down to it, they put the cart before the horse by putting the lobbyists before the science. You know what I mean? This is just government games that go on, and everything will fill in behind it. But that period when this shit goes down, it gives a lot of the biggest companies a huge advantage to run with part of the market. And that's part of the thing. No matter what political party you subscribe to, that's part of the thing. When you hear so many people bitching about stuff like that, it's that time in the middle. It's a time in the middle when the government gets involved and they slant the game. You know, it's they just
and you know, seemingly not even doing it intentionally.
right.
You know, I mean, that would be the hope, at least.
So back into the news for a minute.
Sure. Yeah, we can call Bill too.
Oh yeah.
It's 9:30 too.
I definitely want to see this. We'll come back to it, but just so you know, we got some more news. Secret Service buying
we do.
Harley Davidson motorcycles despite Donald Trump feud.
That's right.
More on that in a minute.
That's right.
So listen, tell me a little bit about your last press event while I'm pulling up this number.
Yeah, so we went out to Washington, went to Anacortes, Washington, and then we rode from there got introduced to the bikes. We had some, you know, there's some great guys out there. Johnny Langston was there. Dane Gingerelli was there. Mark Tuttle. It was a fun group of guys, for sure. And I got to do a bunch of riding. Carrie Hart was there with Big B. And got to do a bunch of riding. You know, we rode the new Chieftains, and rode the new Dark Horse with the Thunderstroke 116 in it, that they just re-released. And it was a blast, man. I mean, I can't say enough about how much fun it was, and being able to get a significant amount of time on bikes in very adverse kind of conditions.
So can I be a child for a minute?
Yeah, for sure.
Thunderstroke sounds like either a new AC/DC song or a new release from Jenna Jameson.
Oh my God, I was going in the same direction. I was just trying to bite my tongue.
It's what it's called. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's been called that ever since the beginning. What have you
doesn't
been
mean
living
it's
under a
good.
rock?
No,
Doesn't mean it's good.
I'm just being a child tonight, and I announced that.
Okay.
Tonight?
But I'm actually putting the finishing touches on my video review, and then I'll have a full review in the December issue of the 2019 Chieftain. Yeah, it's coming up, Heather.
Right?
I know. Look
How
what I
about
just
it?
brought down.
And did you just get the new one?
I don't know if y'all can see that.
Wait. I'm supposed to do stuff when you do that. Hang on.
Oh.
Oh,
You're funny.
I'm glad it's not a gun.
So, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, that is Mr. Clinton Wallace's Gold Dust Woman that he had on display at Lichter's show.
Nice.
Holy hot damn, what a beautiful motorcycle.
For
Kiss
sure.
my ass, Clinton.
You stop it. But I'll tell you, when we were doing the layout for this, it almost felt like a shame to put text with it because it was just
it's
so
such a pretty
beautiful. I like,
motorcycle. And we were really, really lucky. Hold up the layout pages because we were super lucky to have the pictures of Mr. Michael Lichter in there. Open up the pages to the inside. Michael, for a long time now, Michael has every once in a while appeared in the magazine, and because this was his show and everything in Sturgis, like to get these pictures of these incredible bikes and the way that he shoots them in such a perfect condition.
it's going to take up like more than that because the bike is literally 12 feet long.
Yeah, he said
it's
it was
40 over front
He
ass.
said it was one of the hardest bikes he ever shot because of how long it was.
So this is our Sturgis issue. It's got a bunch of articles from Sturgis from a bunch of different people. So we just got it the other day, so you guys should be getting it within the next few days to a week, and
If
it'll
you
hit the
subscribe.
newsstands pretty soon.
So let's go to our first guest.
Hey there.
Mr. Bill Dodge, how you doing, man? You're live with Chris and Ken on ShopTalk.
What's happening? How are you?
What's up?
We're good, man. How's life in Florida?
Very hot right now.
Yeah.
Very hot, but thankfully I haven't seen any storms.
Now, for you guys, like Bill's been on our show a bunch before, and we don't have to. What's that?
I think, Bill, are you outside?
No, but I'm buying because it's hotter than Hades in here.
Okay.
You want me to go outside where it's...
No, just
No.
there you go. We were just picking up a lot of the fan noise. So, Bill show before. He's been one of our invited builders for In Motion. Really don't need to recap his whole career to tell you who he is. But what we're here to talk about today is the Tennessee Music and Motorcycle Revival.
Yeah.
And the
Good
BC
times.
Invitational.
Yeah, the BC Moto Invitational. Good stuff. I'm excited about it. The second year, so...
So, for your first year, how many builders did you have show up?
I think we had 20... I think we ended up almost like 30 builders, probably. Yeah, 30 builders, I think, showed up the first time.
And this year, how many have you invited?
Too many. I got in trouble a little bit with Carrie, but I think there's 42 builders on the list right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, dude. That's
It's hard
great.
it's hard to, you meet so many killer guys and just where I'm at in my career, at least. I meet a lot of really cool guys. I meet a lot of guys that I want to build up, and there's guys that are already built up that are my best friends. So it's so hard not to invite everybody every time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
some great names on that list. I think we know almost all of them, and it's going to be a killer show.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I mean, in addition to that, that's the BC Moto part, is all the builders are there, and they all bring their special bike, and of course we have the resident stables to put the bikes in, and then a select bunch of us, not everybody, but most of us have some kind of setup there. We have a little covered awning, or not covered awning, but a building without walls, basically like a hay barn thing, but it's cemented and will be set up in there, more booths all around, and then we're doing all kinds of fun racing, and it's amazing there. I mean, there's all kinds of cool bands there. I mean, it's pretty killer on the bands too, and it's just a vibe. The place is, it's just, there's so much going on. If I start listening let's see. We got flat track, a small flat track. We have a hill climb. We have a scramble track. We all of our friends are coming to play music. We're having this chopper jam thing where it's going to jam together. I guess Xavier, Jim, and a bunch of guys are going to sit there and jam and mess around and play together. So it should be pretty dope. I mean, that's just a little of it.
Are you sure it's not just an excuse for you to have all your friends have a good time?
Pretty much, that's exactly what it is, Ken. All these guys, and not necessarily all of them have done things for me, but they all are willing to and most have done things for me in my career, and I like to see them all get together and people to see the talents that they have. So yeah, it is an excuse to bring my friends out and have a good time. I mean, Rhett Rotten will be there having fun with the Wall of Death. There's so much stuff. I mean, I don't even remember how big the place is right now offhand, but it's this giant place, and you can do whatever you want. It's family friendly. You can have your family there with you, like most of the Pat and all those guys. Everybody's bringing their families.
Well, for any came up in the amateur motocross ranks, you guys will remember this, where the Loretta Lynn's Amateur National happens, the AMA Amateur National Championships. Lynn's Ranch is where this event goes down.
Yeah.
And huge, beautiful property. I mean, the Lynn family really took care of you guys last year, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. We do hay rides, which I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's awesome because, it's all of us on the hay ride. So make it fun. And they take us climb mountains with this trailer with all of us on it. They do all kinds of stuff. It's just a blast. I mean, last year, I can't promise it this year, but I'm pretty certain that she'll be able to sneak. But Loretta came out on Sunday and played for us. Her and the whole family played together, played for our whole group of guys and people that were there. It's just amazing. It's 50 miles from Nashville. So, you want a night out, you take a ride to Nashville, check it out, come back. It's pretty amazing. I mean, and the talent, like you said, is just phenomenal. This. I don't even want to put one of my bikes in the stable. It's fun. I mean, guys ride from everywhere. I mean, last year, Bake, Danger Dan, and a few of the other guys, Billy from Dan's shop, they all rode knuckleheads and panheads from Texas over there that they just built for the show. So you're going to get everybody's killer bikes and them riding them and showing you what's up with them. It's really
nice.
neat.
And what's the format of the show, of the invitational? So is there a prize, or are people just displaying bikes?
No, nothing like that. I don't think prices are fair in the world of motorcycles. There's so many different styles and everything. You can't really say one guy's bike's better than the other, especially with a crew like that. So it's more of an invitational. It's for them to bring their stuff out and show me their best and bring their best out for the people to see and to get to know each other. It's all about all that stuff. It's not about you win or anything. Don't get me wrong. As sponsors build, there'll be prizes for the guys to give to guys and stuff like that. Gifts, but just gifts. No prize for a better bike.
And when is the event?
The event is October 4th through the 7th. I'm sorry, it's getting late and it's been hot today.
That's all right.
It's the 4th through the 7th of October. It's in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, Lynn's Dude Ranch. Like I said, it's about 50 from Nashville. It's pretty centrally located. It's a beautiful time of the year. There's no bugs, no nothing. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
And
I
like
have
I
to
said,
tell you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I have to tell you, Jeff Quilty wanted us to know that he said Bill is one of the raddest, nicest, most humble MFers I've ever had the pleasure to meet. Love that
I love
guy.
him so much. He's such a good dude. I think the same about him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Good people in this world. I found that out, especially, I've known him, but you really, last year when the storm hit me, there's such good people all around the world. We're so lucky to have motorcycles in our lives to connect us.
No, definitely have to agree on that.
Yeah, I love you, Jeff, if you're listening.
Nice. All right, Bill. Well,
I'm excited. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get some bikes ready. I got 3 bikes I'm delivering the riding there that I built in like a week. So I got to get these things ready so I can actually get there.
yeah, go for it. But we just really appreciate you having you on. We wanted to make sure that we gave you a shout out for the.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate everybody. Please come out and see us. Check it out on my Instagram. We have a BC Moto Invitational Instagram. We also have the Tennessee Music and Motorcycle Revival Instagram. Check us out and come see us. You'll have a good time, I promise.
Awesome.
Right on, man.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, everybody.
All
Bye,
right,
Heather.
buddy.
Bye, Chris.
Later on.
Hi there. All right. So we were going to, I think the next piece of business that we were going to talk about, or news, I should say, was completely unrelated to the Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival or the BC Moto Invitational, which is the Secret Service are buying Harley Davidson motorcycles regardless of the fact that Trump is in a feud with them. I mean, is this really news?
I don't know, dude. There's a little video. Let's watch their little video.
Oh, is there a little video?
There is. So whose behalf was this actually done on?
No, who knows?
This seems like a giant.
Whether it's an agriculture entity or another manufacturer, that's really got to be our end game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on from the little video because I watch enough news by accident in a day.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that's interesting is that it says a medium-sized municipality would have a hard time justifying buying an Indian motorcycle if there's not a dealer in town to service it, he said. You can't use just any motorcycle for police work, as the bikes have to meet special requirements. If a police bike gets in a crash, you don't want a gun flying out of the saddlebag. That was Robert.
Who?
That was Robert Pandya.
Really?
Yeah, he was quoted in this. So
it's funny though. Like, does anybody know that when the Milwaukee Eights, or was it even before that? that for it was with the new frame. I forget how long ago. So for companies like or for cities like Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh has motor cops, they've had them forever. And when you're a motor cop in Pittsburgh, it's 365 days a year. Like when it snows, you're still on your motorcycle.
That sucks.
They just fit them with sidecars so that they have.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So, but for a while there, the frame design, they couldn't put a sidecar on the bikes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so instead of the program where they were trading the bikes in and stuff all the time, that actually wasn't happening. So there was a scramble, and I don't know if this is something they've overcome or not, but there was a scramble to figure out, what the municipalities and the cities were going to do across the country that have motorized cops, what they were going to do for motorcycles.
Huh. I had no idea.
And
Well, the previous piece too that they said was that Indian doesn't have any interest in doing a police bike right now, so
yeah,
because it is a specialty bike. It's taken years. I mean, how long has Harley been involved in in it? It seems like since the beginning, right? I mean, they've been making police bikes forever. So
yeah, you know what, man? And I mean, can I be the one to say this?
sure.
I'm sick of the whole goddamn world right now and all this bullshit.
Whoa,
No, seriously, man.
Chris, you need to go take a motorcycle ride.
You're right. You're right. But unfortunately, even in the motorcycle ride now, politics are creeping in. I'm sick of politics, man. I'm sick of every single person you sit down and talk to. You have to hear some bullshit about what they feel is right or wrong in the world today. Somebody's sexuality, offense thereof, nationality, offense thereof. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of whining bullshit people and a media that loves to serve them. I'm sick of it, man.
Oh, poor Chris.
Oh no, not poor Chris. Don't do that. That's what the rest of them want. They want the pity party. Shut up. Everybody go back to work.
I think you need a safe space, Chris.
Oh.
You need a safe space.
Go ahead.
No,
Heather,
I was going to
go
say,
ahead.
no, I'm sorry. Actually, I kind of agree. It's about time people are accountable for their actions and their
Right.
words.
Right. How about?
Well, no, that's for sure. I mean, those are two separate topics, in my opinion. People are definitely accountable for what they say and their actions.
Well, no, they
but I
should be,
think-
but they're not. A lot in today's society, they're not. They want to say, well, you offended me. You hurt my feelings. This. Grow a set, and if you have a problem with somebody, say something. Like, go to them. Chris, you pissed me off today. I think you're a jerk. This is why. Then move on.
Nope. Get a helmet. Life sucks. All right, moving on.
Little tangent.
I have no idea where that came from, but I'm just gonna
You
step
know what?
aside.
Listen, I'm going to tell you exactly where it came from. So here's the
Okay.
deal. A lot of you guys know that we've been months on the road now, living in our tiny house. And one of the nicest things about the tiny house is when you want entertainment at the end of the day, it's generally a DVD. Since neither Fox News nor CNN has learned how to deliver daily DVDs, there's no news in the tiny house. So since we've been back for 3 or 4 days in the real world and had to turn on the idiot box, which it's off now and it's staying off. Like the bullshit that's going on that they call news reporting.
I love this. Did you see the Anderson Cooper thing? That was
Dude.
so great.
Scandalous.
Oh, it's not scandalous. It's just funny,
It's
He's
scandalous
standing
that they
he's
call it
standing
news.
standing in water up to his waist, and there's people on the other side of the street walking right through it. So funny. I mean, it is just so great. You're just like, okay, yeah, you are cherry picking, what you want.
Yep.
So anyway, it's good stuff.
Oh, that's
As it has always been.
Well, let's go to the real news. What's on social media?
Yeah.
I read that somewhere.
That's awesome. That's so great. I had lots of happy birthdays. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken, for guilting everybody into saying happy birthday. No, but that's awesome.
More people. Happy birthdays.
Thank
Heather.
you. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate everybody that took a time. Let's see what else. We got a lot of people watching right now. Jamie Tverzek, Brenda and Jack DeGazio, Tom Kiefer, Mike Yurko, Joseph Germick, And apparently everybody likes my grow a set statement. I'm sorry.
She is from New Hampshire.
Look for your die.
Barclay Smashy is here. Rocky Burgess, Clinton Wallace, Ryan McQuiston, Ashley Woodford. Hi, Ashley. Ashley Woodford is Buell Brothers and Buell Sisters Racing. You're going to be in the magazine next month. Mike Yurko, Gary Hahn. Gary Hahn, I hope you're healing well. I know you had a little bit of an accident on the way home from Kentucky Kickdown last weekend. I hope everything's all right. And that's about it.
Dude, I got to tell you about that. If you're not hip to this Kentucky Kickdown, so a number of years ago, Will Ramsey hipped us to Kentucky Kickdown because it's right across the bridge from him, from his shop, from Faith Forgotten Choppers. And it's grown, and this year was their first year that they moved into a full event property where they had camping and, like a really big stage and all this stuff. And we went, man, and it is seriously filled with super enthusiasts, really diverse collection of motorcycles and people, and just really digging what they do. And everybody has a super amount of respect for the guy that puts it on, the head guy. And I was really happy to be there. So that's one to put on your calendar, man. If you guys have a chance next year, make sure you don't miss Kentucky Kickdown.
Nice.
It was a good deal.
Good times.
It was fun work.
It was. They had a big old swimming pool and a bowling alley and like Chris said, a great collection of bikes. And they had a really cool, a lot of cool bands.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy, but just really just good eclectic music.
Nice.
And killer food trucks.
Wow.
They had the food trucks.
That was some of the best. And we got to just kick it in Louisville, which Louisville's one of my favorite places, man. Believe it or not, what a great part of the country.
Yeah.
That whole town with Bourbon Row and getting to actually stand at the window and watch them make the Louisville Slugger, that's killer.
They wouldn't let you buy a bat, though.
So you have some stuff you had us preload for our next guest. Is that stuff to play before?
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, you can play. You can play it ahead of time. You play the history one.
Yeah,
It's something my company produced several years ago when I was working with SNS. So
let's check this out. So SNS is celebrating a big anniversary, and
George Smith in particular, with actually starting the Harley aftermarket, because until that time there really was nothing, and he provided kits and products that would make these bikes go faster. The approach that George took was to solve the next problem that was stopping these bikes from going faster. And the first product that SNS put out was push rods, because the valve train in the old Harleys just couldn't handle high RPM, and in order to make more power, that's what he needed to do, is get them to spin faster. He'd already done the push rods, the valve train was stable. He'd made bigger engines with stroker flywheels, but he needed to get more air into these engines, and that is the key to the whole performance thing. So he experimented with dual carburetors, very expensive way to go, but in the mid-60s he designed the first SNS carburetor. They became famous because of these carburetors, so much bigger than the stock carburetors that the stock air cleaner wouldn't fit on them. So he designed the teardrop air cleaner simply to go on the SNS carburetors. As the technology improved and SNS was making more and more power with these engines, more things were breaking, and of course we had to build new parts to replace the stock parts that couldn't take the stress. Eventually we had enough parts to make a new engine. In the early 1990s, Harley-Davidson wasn't keeping up with demand on motorcycles. When there's a vacuum in a market like that, somebody will step in to fill it. And Illusion was probably the first manufacturer to start building aftermarket motorcycles. But what they needed most was an engine. It was a marriage made in heaven. These guys could build frames and put motorcycles together and we provide the engines. And S&S really took off. In 1999, we built a new building here in S&S, and the board of directors mandated that we have a museum because we have a lot of artifacts that we have accumulated over the last 50-odd years, and they're all now together in one place where people can see it. And as you walk through the S&S Museum, you'll get a feel for the history of S&S cycles, starting in 1958 in Blue Island, Illinois, and ending up here in Viola.
Right on. Was that actually Bruce Tesmer's voice?
Yes.
Was
Yep.
it? Wow.
Yeah, it was. We were trying to think of his name the other day.
Bruce, man, Bruce was. Oh, the next video. Bruce was one of the best guys at SNS, like all the time. Bruce had all the time in the world to talk to you, and man, I miss him. Retired
And he
a
had
few
that
years
history,
ago.
you know, he had that real connection to the history of SNS.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're going to get David Zemla on. He is the director of marketing, I believe. Let me get his official VP of marketing. Excuse me.
There you go.
VP of marketing for SNS Cycles, and he's going to be talking about the 60th anniversary, which I believe is this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's going to talk a little bit about that and maybe some product news. You never know. So.
David, are you there?
Yep.
Hey, man, this is Chris and Ken. You're live with ShopTalk.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to try to bring you up as we're talking. You're a little bit late.
So how's the planning going for the 60th?
Good.
And is it this weekend?
Is it what?
Is it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Oh, it's actually going on right now.
We've got stuff going on from now until.
Oh, cool. And is
Yeah.
everything happening in La Crosse or Viola?
No, it's actually we built a racetrack right next to the Viola facility.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
That's great. So it's all you're doing like a flat track there?
Yeah.
So it's got to be a daunting task. I mean, on the 10s, the anniversaries are always the big thing to think about, and I don't think anyone is ever going to forget the 50th anniversary. You know, I mean, there was whole issues of magazines. Like it was such a spectacular thing. But, you know, again, man, a whole nother 10 years has passed. Another generation has been ushered in. New technologies have come along. Like there's a lot of stuff to celebrate for a company making it through another decade.
Yeah, we decided that we were not going to do such an extravaganza on this one. Our original intent is to do it really low key.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's generally the people who work there and the founders that care most about a company anniversary, or it's a thinly veiled excuse for a party. So we said, you know, this is a company that was born of racing, and the only proper way to celebrate its anniversary is a race.
Yeah.
You know, so we were in play building this track next to the office, you know, to do some testing for our own flat track programs and literally for us to play after work.
Nice.
So we said, you know, let's combine the two, build some sort of like crazy fun, you know, anniversary that is just the company people. So, and then it actually exploded after that.
Oh, that's great. So this ushers in the Rumble at the Ranch, and I have the website up now.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
So moving from the people at the company having fun to celebrate the anniversary, tell us a little more about, you know, where did it go from there? What's going on?
What's going on? You know, I don't know. This is a company that continues to evolve. You know, this is a company that was focused on giant amounts of engines in the early 2000s. And then, you know, as that market changed, the company evolved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always dabbled in exhaust. And a couple of years ago, we said, you know, we're going to do this or we're not going to do this. And we invested, oh my God, millions of dollars into a new facility. and said, hey, we're going to take on the best of the best, and we're going to leverage our in-house emissions facility. We've always had this emissions facility for certifying engines and bikes, and really take advantage of kind of the new world order of emissions compliance, but do it right. The automotive industry years ago figured out how to make performance engines and still make them, not piss off California.
Yeah. And
so we designed our own cats. We did all of this crazy development and have our own exhaust manufacturing facility. So, we've had people from all over the country move in to work there.
Wow. That is a huge task. I was there right at the beginning of that, and then and it's come a very, very long way since then.
Yeah, I doubt you would recognize any of it. It has changed so much in the last couple of years.
I'm sure. So the actual event, is that just on Saturday? It looks like, you're going to have
it's a little bit of
races.
Both. So on Saturday we have the main party is really Sunday and race. Saturday we have our first training school. So we had built the track with the intent that it be a school and kind of tuning area. So we have our first school. Johnny Lewis will be teaching on Saturday. Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. We have a handful of guys cruising. In fact, Jared Meese and his crew are going to be out on Sunday.
Nice.
And then we have a bunch of distributors and friends of the company and things like that in on Saturday. So we're going to do tours, do some rides, kind of show off our little corner of the world. And then really the race itself and all the celebration is Sunday.
Great.
Well, and I got to tell you what a bunch of fun that looks like, because I have the website up and everything from, pull starts to actual pit bikes, tank shifters, and hooligan lawn tractor. I think you guys might be the first people to have the hooligan lawn tractor class.
We'll see if the lawn tractor race community plays along with our hijinks here. The end of the day, this is a party first,
right?
And a race second. So that's what we said. Hey, let's make it fun, and we have a handful of company people racing. We had a couple that are building their own lawn tractors. So we have a mini bike class, and we actually have a ton of hooligans signups. We had a women's class, and we didn't initially have any signups, so we replaced it with a tank shifter class.
Right on.
And then we had a whole group of women racers say, "What the hell?" So we brought it back.
Nice. That's the nice part about running your own event, right? You can do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right. We're all okay. We'll bring it back. And they immediately signed up. Literally within hours, they signed up. So that worked out kind of fun. So we're not even sure how we're going to get through the day. We have enough racing to go past dark, and we don't have lights.
That's great, man.
So it should be a very entertaining day. The track was really fun. We had this piece of property. It actually belongs to one of the employees, and it's directly across from the building. It's one of the few flat pieces of property in the area. Everything is hills out here. So we scoped this thing out. It's kind of hidden behind a local park. Put on it, took aerial pictures, had a drone up there. Finally decided how we're going to do it. We actually built two tracks. We have a long track and a short track. And we actually have a couple of the race teams out on Monday that are going to actually tune it as well.
I was kind of expecting you were going to tell me it was that it was up at the runway.
No, the runway, other than the runway part of it, not so flat.
Yeah.
So no, that's right. There's this crazy company. It is in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the woods,
and has its own runway.
We have a runway connected to us and a flat track right next to us now.
That's awesome, dude. We should definitely jump on board and like get a flashlight drag race going on the runway or something for another.
Oh, that
I would be
met
so
with
down.
very negative reviews, would be my guess. So,
Flashlight drags rule.
we don't even touch the runway anymore. So I don't even know if it's been maintained.
Yeah, last time I was up there, it was pretty rough.
Yeah. And
So
back in the day,
Saturday with Johnny Lewis, is he actually giving instruction? Is he teaching
Yeah.
people how to flat track? What's he?
absolutely. He's bringing his entire class and his bikes and everything. And 10 o'clock Saturday morning, the crew will be on track. And it's we did kind of it's an invite only, and it's a handful of guys from the company and a handful of guys that are kind of friends of, and it'll be the first class taught on the track.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
He's a great instructor.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So, and then the long-term play is the track will be kind of an instruction facility.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we actually built it as a separate entity. It is not owned by SNS.
Oh, okay.
So it'll kind of do its own thing.
That's great. So do you guys have any future plans for it? I mean, obviously you just said that, you're thinking about doing lessons there and that sort of stuff, but is there anything else planned in the future?
We keep getting asked about holding a race there, but we'll see. That is a whole level of complexity that I don't know if we're ready for yet.
Sure.
Right now it's just for fun and games.
Yeah.
We have a fair number of the flat track, especially the Indian teams, that will probably test and tune out there.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I suspect that's what it'll get used for the most.
Okay, so let's talk for a minute about the 60th anniversary engine.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about this as I have it up and I'm scrolling and drooling.
Yeah. Well, so historically, we've done a handful of engines, for anniversaries, and we've always kind of gone cubic inches, and we said, okay, let's take another look at it and do something that really no one else can do. So we have been dabbling with this nickel-plated finish for a gross amount of time. And we realize it's never going to be happy in a production environment. It is painful to create consistent colors and finishes, and it's a brushed nickel under a powder coated clear. So the process to get it's copper buffed, brushed nickel, then powder coated clear.
Which equals to a huge pain in the ass.
Oh my God. The scrap level of parts to get to parts we were happy with to make these was phenomenal. So we're really, really picky about these. There was a person on the line hand picking parts to go on the motors.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
so it was pretty cool.
You can see it in the one picture right here that I have up on the screen. This engine is one of 60.
Yeah, right. So we said, okay, it is so painful to make these things that we can't really make them in any volume. And we had kind of said, hey, we're not going to do this nickel finish. It wasn't going to be part of anything we ever did. And then we said, hey, you know what? The perfect excuse is the 60th anniversary, because then we only have to make 60. And that everyone went, yeah, okay, we can do that, And literally, we hand-picked each cover to build with. So yeah, oh my God, and they're kind of based on an existing platform, the 124 Evo motors. That thing is pushing 130 horsepower, so it's a damn healthy motor.
Yeah.
So we did a handful of other little things. The motors all have black stainless hardware, 12-point. There's a ton of little detail all over the motor.
Yeah, it's a looker boy, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, it's a ripper too. It's like I said, it's 130 horsepower Evo.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm going to have to ask. So, how much do they go for?
They are $9,999.
Yeah, that's what I figured it'd be 10 grand, which was, I think, back in the day. Wasn't that what the 50th anniversary motor was?
Yeah.
It was 10 grand too.
Yeah.
Yep. Which you can't find those now. Those are like collector's items.
They are. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fun. It's neat to see it kind of play out that way.
Yeah. I think
we
Chris is
have-
going to buy two, right?
We have, yeah.
Dude, I'd love. I think
We have internal bets as to where the motors will end up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But we literally we set each motor goes out with a personalized leg and an unique email address that when you contact, if you tell us where the motor's going to go and send us pictures of it, we'll actually send gear and publicize it.
Oh, right on.
We're dying to see where these things go. We literally have bets going internally.
Like
That's
in a
cool.
closet.
You know what? Well, there's a couple of guys that said they'll be on shelves, but
Yeah.
we already know of guys that have bought them and are building FX on them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. So I mean, look, the day of the launch, we knew of a couple of guys already that picked one up and are building FXRs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
yeah, I'm dying to see how they come out.
So while I'm poking around your website, I click on the flat track tab, and it brings me to the S&S Cycle is the exclusive supplier of Indian registered trademark FTR 750 replacement parts.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't too long ago I was at S&S, and with, you know, like you said, the challenges of overcoming, you know, some of the downsizing in the industry, the disappearance of the OE aftermarket companies that were taking a lot of the engines. You guys were looking for a lot of diversity and different ways to use the equipment and facilities that you had to, you know, retool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What does this mean for your company in that respect? The new, you know, all the new action with Indian and the FTR 750.
Well, the backstory on that is, you know, we were ground floor helping them develop that race bike.
Right.
You know, which was an amazing opportunity for us and for everyone that was involved in that. So as that thing evolved, and there was only a couple of bikes last year, and there is 60 bikes out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, and we'll see if they build any more. Right? That's what they were. I don't know, they $35,000-$40,000 bikes. So because we helped develop it, we designed a lot of the parts, things like that. We became kind of the exclusive supplier of all of the parts for the bike. You know, and Polaris doesn't want to mess with that. In their eyes, that's kind of low volume. So it's a perfect fit for us. You know, and it's an opportunity to continue to evolve the bike.
And really stay in touch with your racing heritage.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's a, you know, end of the day, we're a company born of racing and live or die by it. You know, and it's actually, there are multiple parts that we developed for the FTR that will eventually become, and some already have, production parts.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
because, you know, that's your best case scenario is that you race on Sunday and sell on Monday. And because of all the effort we put into developing the bike and the parts and everything else, you know, we see opportunity in the things we created to translate them into a production environment and, you know, make Sportsters better and exhausts on Softails better and things like that.
Cool.
Oh, and you know, beyond the effort of the development of the parts and, you know, whatever need it fills for the company's production schedule, you guys deserve to be commended for how much effort you're putting into reviving the race part of this industry. You know, because I not too many years ago, you go to a motorcycle rally, the drag races are gone, the flat tracks were ill attended. You know, that part of our culture was disappearing. And I mean, it's great that there was a little uptake in it with the hooligan stuff, but it takes a company like S&S. You know, I'm going over your contingency program right now on your website, and this is the kind of support that needs to be out there from companies to foster this and push it forward. And you guys are putting it out there, man. That's great.
Yeah, the contingency thing was, it's pretty amazing. We'll see, you know, 10, 12 deep in FTR. So, like, you know, our payout has been insane. I think other than Indian itself, we are the highest payer in AFT.
That's fantastic. So
That's
so,
great.
so good to see somebody taking some responsibility like that. And
Yeah,
in
it's
this time.
well, it's an amazing opportunity for everybody involved. Flat track was kind of the stepchild of motorcycle racing. It was very regional. It was very kind of hometown, which isn't bad. But we saw this opportunity, and India in itself saw this incredible opportunity. When working together, we created this killer machine, and then just as that evolved, Flat Track kind of got legs. The organization that runs it really did a good job leveraging media. This thing they're broadcast live. They're rebroadcast on NBCSN. The readership is mind-boggling. It is really, really impressive how many faces that these races see.
Mm-hmm.
And now the races, even in attendance, are starting to get sold out, which, a flat track race hasn't been sold out in decades.
Right.
Yeah, I heard that
Probably
Rapid City sold out. That seems crazy.
A ton of them have.
Yeah.
This, since the Kenny Roberts days, this hasn't happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which is just amazing. So it's neat to be part of this thing. It kind of comes full circle from the KR days to,
For sure.
and the demographic is really amazing as well. It's the guys who are watching, especially the online one, are 18 to 30 tops. And that's that's Godhead in the motorcycle industry right now is how do you touch that younger market? If you ask anybody at the OEMs, that's their core focus is how do I touch the market? And American Flat Track does it every weekend.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the only thing we keep coming back to is touching the 18 to 24-year-old is one thing, but actually finding the ones that have an economy to participate. And I only say this at the level of some of those OEMs. I think they have unrealistic expectations about once they do have the attention of that demographic, what are you going to do with it? I mean, it's not,
yeah, right. Yes. Well, that's a whole nother discussion, isn't it?
Sure.
And it's, at the end of the day, no market ever in history has seen a massive participation in things that require a lot of money from 18 to 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
Amen.
It doesn't happen, right? So
Apple.
Maybe, yeah. But it, no, I mean in the motorcycle space.
Yeah.
So it does, it's a branding effort in many, many ways. And I have to suspect that, as the OEMs kind of find their way, and you look at what Harley's done decades, from the Aramaki time where they went, oh, we need a way to address this younger market. So they did, and then, as time went on, other tools to try and address this younger market. So this is certainly not a new process. But I suspect it all comes together very well. The constant discussion of, how do we sell things to the millennials? And while that's been going on, millennials actually are much older than you think.
But we just talked about that. The actual age of millennials now, what did we say, Ken? 20?
30 to 38.
Yeah, up
Yeah, right.
22 to 38.
Yeah,
so
21 to 38.
You start doing the math and you go, oh, damn, the millennials grow up. They actually have real jobs now and real money.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
a rising part of them. But to still, I mean, I don't want to be the one that's always playing devil's advocate, but when in terms of a super consumer, the kind of super consumer that Harley saw an influx of that drove the whole last big curve, that was even still an old age group. That was people.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Were,
and that
when,
was just a crazy perfect storm of economic and other factors that is not likely to happen in our lifespan.
Right.
Harley is well aware of that, and all the OEMs are well aware that, that was an only more than it was anything else. And, we'd all love to see, 2004 economic standards happen again.
Yeah.
But, a lot of things will prevent that from ever happening. But it doesn't mean that, the motorcycle industry can't be healthy.
No, and that's. I mean, listen, I'm not the naysayer on all that. I'm just saying that there's still work. Like one of the big things we talk about all the time, man, and this is where, you know, a lot of the stuff that you guys are doing, you know, is that younger consumer, that 18 to 25-year-old consumer, are they going to have enough money to buy the $9,000 60th anniversary motor?
Well,
No,
we
but
obviously have no expectation of that.
right. But what I'm saying is, even though you don't have expectation for that, you're out there, you're running contingency programs, you're developing stuff, you're, you know, giving them entry points to participate, you're planting seeds that next consumer base is growing into.
Yeah, we actually do a fair amount of Sportster based things, and we just started really working with Royal Enfield. So I don't know if you followed
I was actually
Bonneville.
at Bonneville, and we interviewed them, and it'll be in next month's
Perfect.
magazine.
Right. So, you know, that's another example of kind of crazy things that we have our fingers in. You know, we developed that motor for them.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
You know, and she went out and murdered the record in that class.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, no doubt that going fast is on that bloodline.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah, right. Yeah, but it was that was a crazy fun project. You know, Royal Enfield owns Harris chassis, which I don't know if you're familiar with the Harris stuff from back in the day, and they are, man, they are chassis craftsmen. If you were there, so you got a close look at that bike.
Yeah.
You know, it is fillet brazed. It is gorgeous. Like the chassis is a work of art. You know, so it was pretty amazing to work with them, and they gave us kind of carte blanche on the motor. You know, it just had to follow the rules for that class. You know, come up with whatever you guys think, and then we kind of managed the actual event. You know, got it there, tuned it. You know, made sure she was sorted out. You know, and at Royal Enfield, you know, they have a clear understanding of what it takes to generate media. So, you know, they had a helicopter there. They had a ton of assets there to make.
That's
sure
whose helicopter that was.
Oh yeah.
Now we finally find out.
Oh yeah, they really did. They weren't gonna just make this happen and then not be able to share it.
Well, and dude, I'll tell you what, the cat that was driving the helicopter, someone needs to give him some extra pay. Because as fast, so Ken, not to leave you out of the loop on this, it was the Royal Enfield project that we're talking about was actually piloted by Chris Revis's daughter, and she killed it. She killed it.
18 years old.
But dude, nothing was more striking at Bonneville this year than watching a helicopter fly sideways as she was hauling ass down that track. And I mean, for the whole measured mile, that helicopter was sideways, going as fast as she was. It was mind blowing.
That's pretty cool.
She ran 150, I think, or just under 150 on that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the bike's a 650, or the motor was a 650. So yeah, that was needed tuning. It's a good example of all the crazy stuff, you know, that we're involved in. You know, and not just, you know, motors are really fun and they're core to us, but you know, you look at what the market looks like now and even 5 years down the road, and you know, motors are part of it, but really it's so many other things.
Oh, and it is, man. And I mean, that's, you know, what I was getting to in our little roundabout fashion is the fact that just like generations before the millennials and mine and Ken's and even the baby boomers, the place that you come in is where you can afford to be. A lot of times that's used motorcycles that are going to need parts. Somebody has to be there, you know, and that's a direct connection.
It's really been an advantage to us because the dealers and the factory are really not supporting a lot of the older motors in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
You know, you hurt the case on your Evo, you're just
shit out of luck.
Yeah, you're not going to walk into a dealer and go, "Hey, can I get a part?" It just doesn't happen. And we're not hearing they're not really supporting like early twin cams anymore.
Yes.
You know, I hardly even blame them. You know, it's a ton of work to do these things. You know, and the dealership environment isn't set up for, you know, a ground up build of a motor.
Oh man,
you know,
I can remember.
Labor.
I can remember back when those things first came out, and at the time our senior tech editor was Jim Libonetti from Megaflow, and I can remember us saying, "Hey, look, you know, from a manufacturing perspective, that standardized shaft dimension, press fit, that's great. But what's going to happen? Like, we were looking like, old pan and shovel guys looking down the road and saying, what's going to happen with these one day? I mean, it's a much more difficult proposition to deal with one of those in a rebuild capacity,
Yeah, it is. So we're seeing the franchise dealers and even the factory going, we're not going to be able to support that at the same level.
Yeah.
Which in our eyes is nothing but opportunity. And motor sales not too many years ago had really, really declined, and now we're seeing an increase. If you tear up the case or something on your Evo, by the time you've rebuilt it from the ground up, the price difference between just buying our long block is nominal.
Right.
And this is a motor comes with a 2-year warranty and is 111 cubic inches.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, man, where can people find out more information about the Rumble at the Ranch?
Rumble at the Ranch, everything is going to be on our website or on the Speed Ranch's website, which is the name of the track. Also, we are broadcasting a ton of it on Choppertown on Facebook. So you'll see it there, and you'll see it on our page as well. And, at the end of the day, this thing it's really just a celebration of horsepower, of this amazing company that started by building push rods to make a knucklehead a little bit better for drag racing. It's pretty cool. We'll actually have a bunch of the Smiths there.
Well, and the other thing too
really
is if you're doing this right beside your Viola facility, the whole museum is right there.
Yeah, actually, that's what we're doing, a Saturday deal where we have a ton of tour stuff going on.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's another we have a museum. As I started, they explained to me that the marketing department was responsible for our in-house museum. Thinking, we are in the middle of the woods. Like, deer are in our parking lot.
They were jumping through the window when I was there.
Oh, right. They've jumped through the windows. We have a fish hatchery on the property because there's a stream running through the parking lot. I'm thinking, who comes to this museum? And I constantly lose people in the middle of the day because we do tours all summer long. It just blows away. You're here, you go, that sounds like a lot of motorcycles out front, and there'll be like 50 guys.
That's so great.
One of my favorite personal memories was the first time I heard the story, and I want to say I remember who this was, but still works at SNS today. But one of the employees, and when he first started there as a machinist, part of his job was taking care of livestock through part of the day.
Oh yeah, in the early days, that was part of it.
Dan Kinsey, right?
Yeah, Dan Kinsey, right? Yeah, Dan Kinsey just retired.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No way.
So Ken, if you don't know, Dan piloted the Streamliner for a while, and man, he was great. I love Dan.
Yeah, he sings out. We said, hey, you know what? Keep your key. Swing by. He's a great guy. He piloted the Streamliner. He's been involved in our drag racing. He's just he was probably one of the first 10 employees. And back then, this facility had cows on it. And when you ran out of motorcycle parts, you went and worked the farm.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the best things Dan ever told me, I was in the museum with him one day. We were doing a whole video thing, and I was asking him questions about the Streamliner, and he literally got the gig for riding the Streamliner because they ran out of options. It was just person after person, and Dan was like, hey, I'll give it a shot. And he wrote it for, a number of years. And I asked him about it. I was like, so, what was this like? And he said, listen, I will tell you this, not one single time that I piloted this machine did I ever feel like I was in complete control of it. Awesome.
Yeah. 287, I think, was his top speed.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
And never once felt like he was in control.
Yeah, his recommendation is that we keep that thing in the museum and never let it out.
Yeah.
We said, all right, that's fair. We'll keep it here.
Yeah.
So, in fact, the Tramp 3 is there, which was developed because it's such a pain in the ass to take the motor in and out of the Streamliner. They used this bike to test and develop motors, and it has its own records as well.
Right
That's
on.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll let you go. We know you've got a ton of work to do. We've got a little more news to get through, but we really appreciate you coming on, David.
Yeah,
Anytime,
thank you
guys.
so much.
Appreciate you giving us a little hype on our event. We're very excited to celebrate 60 years of this pretty amazing company. And look for a ton of video and photos and everything, mostly on Facebook, of how this crazy little event goes down.
Awesome.
Well, good luck
All
to
right.
you, buddy.
Thanks a lot,
so
guys.
much.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Right on.
Yeah, that was great.
Never disappointed with a visit there. I mean, because
No, it's such a great. I mean, it's got such great history. I mean, it's. I really, the whatever couple 3 months that I was there, kind of on and off working and going through the museum the first time and everything, and seeing all the kind of nooks and crannies, and just talking to all the people, like Dan and
yeah.
Bruce, and it
I
was
can't believe that
phenomenal.
in my time in this magazine, I've seen Dan, Bruce, some of these guys retire. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, you're old. It's okay. We know.
Wow.
There you go.
Hey, is she the peanut gallery now?
I
She just
think
turns
so.
her mic on and says snotty things and then turns it off.
That's
what this is. You're old.
Let's put it on her for a minute. I'm old. What do you got from social media since that's your game?
Everybody's quiet tonight. They're all just listening intently and being quiet.
Nobody has a comment. All you guys, every time I see you, everybody has, hey, you know what you ought to do on that show?
Oh, geez.
Tell Heather.
I don't need to hear what they need to do, what we need to do. The audio needs to be better. The blah, blah, blah needs to be better.
Well, in the last couple of weeks, somebody told Heather to shut up. Somebody told Ken his audio sucks.
Yeah.
It's a rough crowd.
Yeah.
It is. But people, I will say there are a lot of much more positive comments than
For
negative. So we need to focus on the positive, not the negative.
Oh,
but we
listen to
do
her.
positively need people to share that
Yep,
little
yeah.
button.
This
that
is your
share
job.
thing.
You can help ShopTalk go further, turn this into a tool for the whole industry simply by sharing this post.
If anybody from SNS is watching, it'd be really cool if SNS decided to share it. That'd be neat. Or maybe Bling.
Yeah, right.
That'd be neat.
But like I said, we're trying to make this into a tool for the whole industry, and that includes the culture too. So this thing can be as good as you want it to be.
You're pointing to the like art, actually. You got to go the other way.
Share. See,
It's
right
like
there.
the other corner, I think.
Share. No, I'm actually pointing to the words on the screen that say share,
share.
ShopTalk
Okay.
on your
You need.
page.
Hey, can you do that little bouncing ball from? Remember the cartoons when we were little?
No.
Why not?
Because I said no.
Turn
So
her off. We should probably call Robert because he's standing by.
okay, let's try our
We've only
next
got
guest.
one more news thing. We can do that at the end.
Okay.
Who is our next guest?
Hello.
Robert, how you doing? You're live with Chris and Ken on Shop Talk.
Get out of here. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
I'm great.
Yeah, you are. You were just on some sort of adventure, some sort of off-road.
You know,
Adventure.
my buddy Phil and I were old racing partners in Texas. We used to road race together in endurance racing, and he and I started this little kind of tradition of going out to Durango and Ouray area and Silverton and all that, and ride adventure bikes out there. So this is our second year doing that, and I got to tell you, we were complete freaking idiots for trying to ride 500-pound motorcycles up the Ophir Pass in the wrong direction, because there are rocks that are as large as I think my first car that you're trying to. I needed a helicopter, guys. I'm telling you, it was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. And here's the funny thing is, you know you're having a good time when you realize it's stupid and you push on for another quarter mile.
Yeah, and that takes you 2 hours.
Complete idiot. I had a great time out there, and I tell you, just the the adventure bike world, and and all that. I love that stuff, and I just see more and more people in this industry turn into bikes that have like knobby tires, not just for style, but actually to go use them out in the dirt.
So that before we get too far into what we called you on here for, that gives us a unique opportunity to touch on, a topic over the last month we've really been
let's
heavy
introduce
on.
the guy. We haven't even introduced the guy
I'm sorry. Please, Ken, go ahead.
Nobody cares.
You're on,
Right?
Ken.
My mom's not listening. It's okay.
No, so we've got Robert Pandya on. We're going to talk to him a little bit about kind of rider recruitment. He is an motorcycle industry veteran. He's got a company called Spokespeople, yeah. Spokespeople. Does PR and marketing, has for years, as well as event management. And then also has a what would you call it? Give a Shift. What would you call that right now?
It's kind of like this grassroots, kind of industry get together, thing. So it's not official. It's not unofficial. It's not secret. It's not private. We're sitting in a sweet spot. We're right on the edge of the hole of the donut, talking about motorcycle industry issues and things that we need to face, and trying to have a conversation that I feel should be more public than it has been. So that's what we've been doing. Yeah, thanks, man.
That's great. Well, and for people who don't know, you were involved with Polaris, with Indian and Victory, and getting both of those off the ground and running, and we're kind of the face of those two companies for a lot of years, for almost a decade.
Quite a while,
so.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years. Spent 10 years with them. My contract ended with them, and I had both Victory and Indian sort of concurrently. My old man was getting ill and passed away, and so I had a chance to spend some time with him and the good people at Indian. They actually gave me an Indian Springfield as a thank you gift for the 10 years of working with them, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, really good people. I can't tell you how many names and the people I met over at Polaris were great, but that was literally one of the most epic and awesome parts of my career. Really proud to be part of both Victory and Indian. So
yeah.
So as we're talking here, I'm actually bringing up your website for the Give a Shift Roundtable.
Yeah, motogivashift.com. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because this seems to be something that we, between the Motorcycle Riders Foundation and the people with the Motorcycle Industry Council and AIM Expo, like, we go back and forth over whether this is actually going to happen or not, and we're actually going to get this, pipeline of information. Tell me what you're going to do with Give a Shift to make this.
Well, with the first big thing that we did with Give a Shift was almost a year ago, and it is all of it 100% is available for free at motogivashift.com. So in particular, people who are inside the industry, if you work at a dealership or if you own an aftermarket company or anything like that, the whole point of the Give a Shift thing was to get a variety of people together to talk about what are the key issues in motorcycling. And I swear to God, guys, I thought it was going to be like 6 guys and a 6-pack and like a white sheet, like a 2-page white sheet.
Right.
And it turned into this, it just got big, and the idea owns my ass now. And so what we ended up putting out there was my good friend Guido Ebert, who I think you guys know. Guido put together an amazing sort of overview of like sort of state of the industry thing, but with a really smart perspective, and that's a free report there. And then there's almost, I think it's 79 pages of transcript of this really great conversation, 3-hour-long conversation, and it's not redacted. I did have to tweak it a little bit so that people who wanted to be anonymous remain anonymous. They could, but they could say what they wanted to without being attributed to. But when you see the list of names of the people who agreed to say that they were co-authors and part of this thing, it's a compelling list of people. And then we did a summary report that brings out like sort of the top 5 things and, that we need to pay attention to in motorcycling, which I think is why you've got me on the call, is like, getting new riders into motorcycling was clearly one of the major things coming out of it. But instead of just saying like, oh, we need to get new riders into motorcycling and leaving it at that, we actually had some ideas and some, what does that really mean? And how would somebody actually act on that? And for the content of that, and I encourage anybody to take a look at that. It's absolutely free. You don't have to give me your email address.
No, and see, man, I think that's these are things that we're asking from some of the other alphabet soup that I mentioned earlier that we're asking for, because I think right now we're at a time where the freedom of information and a little education could go such a long way, and having access to some of these reports and the numbers would give people the ability to navigate through a really tough time right now. So I think any information that can be compiled together to make sense out of where we're at and where we're going, like I applaud you for it.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm not going to sit here and take all the credit on this thing. There's a list of people who came in. They put their neck on the line to be part of this thing, and I said to all the participants, I said I have I had like 25 slots, and I had 40 applications to be on this panel, which is like, it blew my mind, right? And it was concurrent to the Long Beach IMS show, so there was a ton of people, and I had to say no to some people who like were really great, and I'm going like, oh, God, that sucks, and but there's no way that we could have had like a conversation with that many people. And so anyway, we were able to pare it down. We got a great variety of people there, and you're absolutely right, is that there are national level organizations who I wish would share more information. They're politically constrained, they're constrained by budget, and then they're constrained a little bit out of fear of having this conversation. And you two guys have been on a motorcycle ride, I guarantee you, where you've been on like a group motorcycle ride with some new people, and one guy who's being a total ass and being an idiot. And you have to pull that guy off to the side and say, hey, man, that's not cool. Don't do that. It's not that kind of ride, or if you want to go do that by yourself, right? And so, and that, we would call an intervention. And that is a little bit about what Moto Give a Shift is about, is like, it's not calling blame on anybody or calling anybody out, is what I should say. But it's like, how do we all elevate each other and get better and get smarter at this? And I really, really, truly wish that the MIC could be more open about this sort of stuff. And honestly, this is a conversation that I wish the AMA was hosting, because I think they've got they got the horsepower to do this,
dude. And this is the most disappointing thing, because I am an AMA member. I'm a
I have
member
been for years. Yes,
and I'm a member of most of the organizations, because I believe, just like my right to vote, I can't bitch until I exercise my rights. So I'm a member, so I have the ability.
So you're an MIC
bitch.
member?
Actually, I'm not, but I was when I owned my aftermarket shop.
Right. So I don't mean to interrupt you, Chris, but to be an individual member of the MIC is almost $800.
Right. Right.
It's a huge. And then you sign all these documents that you can't share information. So it's like an internal thing only. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I don't think people understand, like, when you're like, even when I had my aftermarket shop, $800 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
It's like a half a month's rent.
Right.
So
there needs to be something, especially at that level, for the sharing of information that could make a difference in those businesses. Because those businesses, I remember it was back in the day, the EPA summits at Cincinnati, where Chris Maida first pointed out there, and then subsequently in Issues of American Iron, when he was still the editor, that 65% of the industry's business was happening in those businesses. And I wonder every day, if they would have had access to that information then, how much different this whole industry would look today.
This industry is full of incredibly smart, driven, creative people. And this industry is driven by a sense of brotherhood and community. And so when you start to overlay that on top of business, the power in that communication is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll remind everybody out there, is like, that everybody listening probably, has multiple motorcycles in their garage. You've been riding for a while and that kind of thing. We are 3% of the American transportation population.
There you go.
That is it. We are 3%. So if we were collectively, as a group, whether you're a dirt bike guy or a racing guy or a custom builder or whatever, however you classify yourself, if we were to be able to get from 3% to 4%, nobody would be stressed. Everybody would be happy as hell. And that is really what we're trying to do. This is like a series of incremental discussions in order to create the catalyst for us to be better as a business, smarter as a business, and that's what Give a Shift is all about.
And that doesn't happen without outreach to youth, right? Like if we had been having this conversation 10 years ago,
we should have been having this conversation 10 years ago, Ken. I'm telling you, you're right. You're right.
You know what? And in some ways, I hate to say this, but in some ways, a lot of us were. When we were going through the whole thing, and this is back to the point of the AMA, when we were going through the whole thing, like concerning the 2-stroke to 4-stroke transition, when they were doing that whole thing.
Yep.
There was a certain amount of voluntary compliance, I'll call it, that the manufacturers just were kind of given into. It was sort of good for them anyway, because the new unit sales were going to be great. The contingency money was going to be dependent on you having new units rather than the old 2-strokes, and it phased out the 2-strokes really fast. Unfortunately, at the same time, what it did was it took district motorcycle racing, amateur motocross, and it decimated the whole father-son family experience that happened at the district motocross races. Because now you take an environment where you have a dad that can, afford to take his kid to the track, and when it's time to rebuild a top end, you can almost do that sitting right at the track with,
a handful of gaskets and rings, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Versus when it came time to rebuild the 4-stroke, you're rebuilding a 4-stroke. Yeah. It doesn't matter that it's a smaller 4-stroke. It's quite a bit monetarily.
A lot more parts.
Yeah.
A lot more parts. Yeah.
So, this was an opportunity. I felt that, like, while we're talking about today, how 10 years ago, we should have started engaging youth. We really were engaging youth, but we sat by and we watched things like this happen that started to cut people out of this, that started to cut people away at a. And I would say that it comes down to income bracketing, but maybe that's arguable or not. Expensive is expensive no matter who you are, but this is a place where I feel like the AMA needs to be the ones that stand up, because it's the AMA that's collecting those. When you take your kid to a district race, you're paying for one class to race in, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on how old your kid is and experience level. So it's not like they're not developing the economy that somebody couldn't be manning the wheel in the government affairs department.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you. I think that the growth of motorcycling starts at such a young age, and this is what you're leading on to, is engaging more youth. And I've seen a product that is a shining frickin' beacon of what has to be out there in order for us to have more riders in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's my friend Ryan McFarland is the owner of Strider Bicycles. And that right there, it says in the MSF class, when you want to take MSF class, the first rule is you have to be able to ride and balance on a bicycle. If you were to stand on the stage at the Buffalo Chip and take a survey, who had a bicycle in their life when they were a youth, every one of those hands would go up. 30,000 hands would go up, right? So these Strider bikes are basically little kids' bicycles without pedals You just kind of you straddle it, and then you kind of cruise along. You never are on training wheels. You understand lean angle, you understand momentum, and you start to get into that. And then the next step is bicycles. And he pointed out a really scary fact is that youth bicycling is down 21%.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That is a major problem for
yeah.
our entire industry. It's like trying to teach your grandma how to drive stick for the first time or something. I mean, it's, this is a problem for us. So getting more people onto two wheels, it starts, to plant the seeds for the crops for 20 years from now, we got to get little kids riding bicycles and being part of that sort of stuff, and or getting on these striders and supporting that kind of program. And we have to, as motorcyclists, we have to do a better job of being inviting to people who are not motorcyclists.
Amen.
Yep.
This is something
for sure.
that
that comes down to just like simple etiquette, right? Like simple rider courtesy and etiquette.
Yep.
And I was just at the Indian Chieftain launch, and I'm just going to give a little plug here for Kerry Hart real quickly, because he was leading a bunch of us down the mountain, and I couldn't believe how courteous he was to other riders, other motorists, etc. And I'm like, this is exactly what we need. Like, we need that. We need somebody like that leading a pack, not somebody who's riding like an idiot.
Right.
Because that doesn't bode well for motorcyclists.
Every single one of us, Chris, has a chance to be an ambassador.
Right.
I've seen Ken do it, out of Daytona. You take 5 extra minutes to talk to a guy about a particular custom, or about a ride, or about a place that's interesting, or about a guy who's or a gal who's building interesting motorcycles or whatever. And it's just like, just be human, be cool, and if just a small percentage of us did that, that would have a fundamental effect on motorcycling. And we are, as soon as we throw our leg over a bike, again, we are 3% of the population. I guarantee you that we are appealing to a higher level than 3% of the population. Otherwise, like Sons of Anarchy and the OCC boys and all the other stuff, that's all the generic motorcycle stuff that's out there, would not be nearly as popular.
Correct.
So if we just were to take a little bit of extra time to talk to people, to tell them about like Strider bikes and how they can get their 2, 3, and 4-year-olds onto two wheels right now, and stuff like that. And if we were to do a better job of talking about the rewards of motorcycling, rather than let the narrative of the risk of motorcycling, take the lead in the conversation, we would all be in a better position. And that's exactly the sort of thing that I would hope that AMA and MIC would be. They should be the icebreakers in that. They should be charging ahead and doing that in big ways, and giving us as enthusiasts the tools to do that.
And you know what, man, this is exactly like the other side of things. While, all these companies' outreach programs, reaching out to, different demographics than they've ever looked at before, different age groups than they've ever considered before, and even the whole way down to Strider bikes and the initiative like Ken was talking about earlier with the monster truck events. And, that's fantastic. But I wrote my editorial in this next issue of the magazine, something based on a conversation just like this. And a friend of mine reminded me that it takes the core to be excited to also bring in new riders. And if you think about this, when I was a kid, and this is how I wrote this editorial, when I was a kid, I wanted to do everything that the older kid next door did. He rode motocross, I wanted to ride motocross. He listened to rock and roll, I wanted to listen to rock and roll. He got a guitar and played guitar, I wanted to play guitar, because he was my hero. And you look up to those things, and that's where you get your inspiration. And I mean, same thing with this. You're absolutely right, Robert. We all have to be that hero. We all have to be that ambassador.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. It's not work. It's not work. When you connect with that person, holy cow, man, it's like you're the Pope for a second or something. It's like freaking amazing. You just you let somebody sit on your bike. You invite them to sit them on the bike and talk a little bit about what it is, and talk about the the friends you've made through motorcycling and that sort of thing. And then people want to be part of that community. They absolutely want to be part of it. And all of us who are experienced motorcyclists, at a certain point, you start to get further and further away from being the newbie and being, and being scared to ask the dumb question and whatever. And I wrote in the Give a Shift report, I actually wrote if you want to know what it's like to be a newbie in a motorcycle shop, just go and buy some red lipstick for your wife or your girlfriend, right? And I guarantee you're going to get it wrong. You're not going to realize that there's 5,000 shades of freaking red lipstick, and that this is like nighttime lipstick, and this is like fancy stuff, and and you're like, it's just red. It's all red. That's what it looks like for somebody walking into a motorcycle shop for the first time, because all they see are headlights and handlebars, and they all kind of look the same. Because truly, they all kind of look the same. And it's a very intimidating environment. So for us to extend a hand to be ambassadors as the proven enthusiast in the neighborhood, or and honestly, I had a conversation with a guy who's like, he didn't want to take somebody, he was a Harley guy, and he didn't want to take somebody into a Honda shop. And I realized it was because he didn't know anything about Hondas and the bikes that would be parked inside that shop.
Sure.
I'm like, dude, so there's a good possibility that this person who wants to get into riding, like a Harley, is going to be too expensive, too big, too heavy, too loud, too something. And if that's the only thing they're ever exposed to, they might be out for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we as motorcyclists, we want to be smart about this stuff.
Yeah, and how many people, obviously, most people start off on a smaller bike anyways, and, the ones that I know that ended up on Harleys, a lot of them didn't start there. Chris,
well, that's exactly why Harley's doing these electric bikes, and anybody who's going like, oh, I can't believe they're doing that. No, that sucks. That's totally stupid. I'm like, man, you are totally missing it, because the freedom of being on two wheels and twisting a mechanism and accelerating faster than you could on your feet, that is the core of ultimately what's going to build motorcyclists right there. And Harley Davidson is as the big widest brand name known around the world. They have the single biggest opportunity to bring more riders into the fray, and kudos to them for doing that. And I really expect them to push it hard and get those products out in new and different ways, and to audiences that a traditional, vest wearing, pin covered, Sturgis going guy might not get. But guess what? That's too bad. If you don't get it, that's all right. Maybe it's not for you, but it's definitely for somebody else. And so kudos to those guys for doing that. Yeah.
Well, and that barrier to entry, with Twist and Go, that's a huge piece, right? Basically,
no doubt about
if you can ride a bicycle, you can ride that live wire.
You can. And so like in my personal I got like 11 motorcycles at home, and I've got everything from like a 1290 KTM adventure bike and a fat tire TW200, like stupid run around scrambler thing, and I've got old super bikes and an Indian
dude, I'm definitely coming to your house. I'm coming to your house.
Yeah, come on by, no problem. So I got the Indian with the sidecar, which is awesome. I love that. In my collection is a Zero dual sport bike, electric dual sport bike, and that may not be the bike I put the most miles on, right? And all the wankers who are like, oh my God, what's the range on that thing? I'm like, well, it's the same question as asking like, how good is your Goldwing on the motocross track? It's a stupid question. It's not how you use the bike. You use the bike for what it is, right? And so that Zero is not the bike I put the most miles on, but I guarantee you, out of those 11 bikes, that is the bike that I turn on the most. And I go cruise around town and I run my errands and I go to the monument and have breakfast and all that stuff. So, it's the right tool for the job. And if you live in Idaho and you got to go 100 miles to get to a grocery store, it's not your bike. But if you live in an urban environment, They're fantastic for that. They're really great.
Well, I love that when somebody will walk up to one of my choppers and say, "Yeah, but how far can you get on that gas tank?" I say, just about far enough that my ass really starts to hurt, and it's time to get off and put gas in it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Try this, just far enough to where I don't have to listen to you anymore, buddy. Try that one.
Yes, sir. Well, man, this is a fantastic conversation. We have got to have you on here more, dude.
I love talking about this stuff. The truth is that as a society, we don't understand what criticism is in terms of elevating our place in the world, right? Constructive criticism is something that I grew up with I was an art major at the University of Texas, a photography major. And constructive criticism is how we get better. It's not about blame. It's not about pointing fingers or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
It is about realizing where we're weak and where we can be better. And as a community, if we were to allow ourselves to have a constructive criticism conversations in order to elevate the sport, we are the biggest proponents of motorcycling, and we, as a group, can elevate motorcycling and take it from 3% to 4%. We can make that decision and do it. And sometimes we need leadership, and frankly, sometimes it's a grassroots thing. Just start doing it.
Right on.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. Well, where can people find out some more information and keep in touch with you about everything that Give a Shift is doing?
Yeah, log on to motogiveashift.com. All the reports are there. There's podcasts there. I did an interview with Ryan McFarland from Strider, for instance. A really great interview, one of my smartest interviews, I think. I did with him. I even interviewed my sister. She was my first, but she's super cool and I love her. So, but there's the reports are on there. There's links to various articles that are on there, and of course the podcasts, which I think are interesting to listen to. So
yeah, I'm actually scrolling through those right now while you're talking, showing the podcasts. And
yeah, it's pretty easy to get to. There's a newsletter you can sign up for. I don't bombard people with newsletter stuff. I don't vomit that stuff out all the time, but really the whole point of Moto Give a Shift was almost a test for me. It's a little bit like when you're in a relationship with a girl, as sometimes you just act weird to see how it works out. And so I threw out this Give a Shift thing, and I put it all out there, and it's been that report has been downloaded over 6,000 times.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah, which is great, and that's just the direct downloads. I don't know how many times it's been forwarded. And so I know that there's conversations about this, and I know that myself and the people who contributed in that conversation have created a ripple effect. And I also know that I'm freaking blackballed from a few OEMs, and that kind of stuff. And I don't care. I want motorcycling to be something that is approachable to more people, something that we as enthusiasts are evangelizing about, and that we are working together to make it better for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to be willing to stray from the fold to get that job done.
Yeah, the people who change history aren't the ones who sit in the corner. So
yes, sir.
Fact. That is a fact. Right on, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time out and everything that you do for the industry. I'm sure we will have you on again at some point so we can just kind of update and hopefully we get to see you soon.
Yeah, cool, guys. So you guys take care of yourself. Be safe out there, and I look forward to the next time we catch up on the air or on the road.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
See you later,
See
Robert.
you guys. Bye.
That was fantastic. I really appreciate you setting that interview up.
Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge and has done, kind of a lot of things in the industry that really a broad range of things that, give him a unique perspective. So,
I know.
We got one news item.
One news item.
I've been chomping at the bit for this.
And that news item is your current inventory piece?
What?
The
No.
CSC motorcycles. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Go to the homepage though.
Okay.
So go to the homepage and then go to new models, and then click on that thing at the top there, the City Slicker.
This here?
Yeah, it's a Honda Grom.
City Slicker electric motorcycle.
It's $2,400, $2,500.
Wow. Now see
And it's
that
electric.
I would buy that for Amelia for college.
See,
I would
And it's-
absolutely buy that.
Amelia, I
Yep.
hope you're watching. You have it recorded. He will buy that motorcycle for you.
So it's basically the size of a Grom. It says it'll go around town 20 miles an hour for about 62 miles. Top speed is 46 miles an hour. It's got little 12-inch wheels on it. Disc brakes. Normal shot. Actually, it looks like it's kind
So
of
it's like a little
inverted fork
scooter.
up front. Yeah. But it's electric, right? How
Okay,
cool.
so down here it says range 37 miles at 37 miles per hour.
Yeah.
62 miles at 20. So literally about 3 hours worth of use if you're just like if she was tooling around campus on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do a day's worth of,
Yeah.
grocery getting whatever around town, as long as you're in a pretty small town, and then go plug it in and do it again the next day.
That's
They have
awesome.
some other these guys, I don't know who the hell they are, but I'm going to have to get in touch with them because they've got some they've got a little cafe racer
I was going to
250
say, what was that little
four-stroke
cafe
for
racer?
$19.95, $2,000 for a brand new motorcycle.
What
With the San Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Look
I got to
at
get
that.
a hold of these guys and find out a little more about them. And
I would buy her that motorcycle.
go and ride one and see what.
But
what-
like something like
all-
that little cafe racer, that is
So cool.
perfect for the brand new rider that
Oh, yeah.
wants to get their bearings
Yep.
before they make that big investment.
Oh yeah, but it's cool,
And dude, compare this.
and
This
it's got
is
a kickstart.
this is where I want to. This is where I want to take you guys back to our youth and our humble beginnings. Pretty much you kind of had the choice of a Honda Rebel,
Yeah.
or some,
Oh, yeah.
some little metric, but there was nothing cool about them. Honda thought they were cool. They thought an awful lot of the Rebel, but
5-speed gas, 4-stroke.
that's
Yeah, dude, it's $19.95 delivered to your door.
wow.
Holy guacamole, Batman.
Did you really just say that?
Holy guacamole, Batman! I wonder what do you think the seat height is?
Of
It
the
should say.
Grom one or of the
No,
The little
the-
cafe.
A
Let's
little
see.
cafe.
I can't see fuel type transmission. I can't see a seat height.
So, and they're in the tiny print. You got to pay $345 for a setup fee.
Who
blah
cares?
blah blah. Or
So
tax.
it's
whatever.
so it's $1,400.
$2,400.
$2,400. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was caught up.
Yeah. So fun stuff, right?
Yep.
So we're just sitting here looking at motorcycles, and I guess everybody else is watching it too on Facebook. But I just thought it was cool. I don't know how I came across it. I think I saw a thing that said electric motorcycles for $19.95. The original ones that they were selling, that's what they were selling them for, and then they sold through those, and now they're $24.95. So I just thought, how cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Right on.
Really, kind of clean, easy way to get into an electric bike. Anyway.
Well, like we were saying last week, the season's not dead yet. I'm not dead yet.
Not even close.
There's a bunch of stuff still going on. We want to throw up some events of some of our friends. Southern Throwdown 6 coming up before you even know it. We're hoping to be there, but I don't know if that's going to happen. September 30th. Willie's Tropical Tattoo Chopper Time during the melee at Biketoberfest, right around the corner. October 18th, 11 to 4. Always a good time at Willie's. You can absolutely see Heather and I there. The Lone Star Rally is right around the corner.
Yes.
Cycle Source events during the Lone Star. The ever popular rodeo games. We started this as like, let's just have some fun. I could not believe how many people showed up the first year of this.
Oh,
We're
dude.
going into our 4th year of it now, and can literally thousands of people will stand for hours and watch these games go on. We have to call them off
Oh, yeah.
just to end the day. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it at Gettysburg. I mean, it's the same thing. You know, obviously smaller crowd, but holy moly, they love them some rodeo games.
Oh, no kidding.
They
and
take
in Texas,
them very seriously.
in Texas,
In
they
Texas,
take it
huh?
real serious.
And you know, the same guy has won the last 3 years in a row.
He has a leather championship belt for 3 years in a row, and he's no joke, man. Scotty brings it. So if you plan on competing, you better do your practice laps now.
Bring your A game, huh?
So Saturday, November 4th, we'll also do our Ride-In Custom Bike Show. Winner that gets a $500 cash prize and a full feature in Cycle Source magazine. Always a good time. Speakeasy 6th annual open house is coming up. That's going to be October 6th. Rain or shine event. Good times. Tell our boy Evan we said what's up, and then I put his shit all crooked on purpose.
Are we going to be somewhere next weekend?
We are going to be somewhere next weekend, but we're not talking about that yet because I want to mention 2nd year in the row that we're doing In Motion. If you guys remember last year when we were doing this program, we interviewed one at a time the In Motion builders. Contrary to what Mr. Dodge says, sometimes there's still prizes in motorcycle shows.
He retracted that statement.
Yeah, he did.
But
Settle
when
down.
no, listen, I'm just busting Bill's balls. He was
I know.
one of the builders last year, and if it wasn't for him going on the Himalayan
Himalayan
Heroes,
Heroes.
yeah, he'd be
Damn
there again.
him.
But some of the most talented people that you'll ever see build a motorcycle showing up for Galveston again. $10,000 is on the line, one prize only, but the deal is they all have to run. We, myself and a few of the top builders in the country have decided that a motorcycle show with empty motor cases is just dumb shit. So we take all these builders on a ride. They have a shakedown ride. They have to prove that they run. There's 40-40-20 judging system, which is 40% industry panel, 40% members of the trade, which are like welders, machinists, fabricators, and then the last 20% is pure-based judging. So we try to make it as fair as we can, but at the end of the day, one prize, one guy takes away $10,000 and is crowned champion for the year.
And this year we are, the fine folks from the Lone Star Rally have worked really hard alongside us to bring this to the public. Last year it was in a great facility up in the Devil's Cup Bar, but it was a VIP only event, which was great. It was awesome, but people were kind of ticked off they couldn't get in. So we've worked, the show is going to be on the corner of 21st and Strand outside
They
in
gave
an
us a
open air park.
killer
It's
little park,
beautiful.
yeah.
Everybody that goes to the Lone Star Rally will be able to see the bikes. They'll be able to talk to the builders. And if they want to come on the unguided ride for the shakedown ride, they're welcome to on Thursday afternoon. But you're on your own. Don't get pissed if you get lost.
Yes, sir. So hey,
There's
listen, as long as you got the mic, Blondie, where are we going?
Oh, we're going to Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh. How's the barbecue down there?
I
We've
don't know.
never
We'll find
been.
out when we get there.
Okay. Well, I want a full report on the barbecue.
You have to tell everybody what it is that we're doing because it's
So-
a brand new thing. I'm super stoked to see how this is going to go.
So we are kind of revamping our Grease and Gears garage and making it more of what we do. We're making it slightly more grassroots. And we're going to be going to the builders and fabricators and craftsmen's shops. We're going to go to them and be able to sit down and talk with them in their own environments, learn about what they do, why they do it. And they're also going to be doing some DIY, again, in their own environment, their own shop. So we're going to be bringing that to you, little bits here and there along our way from Pittsburgh to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And then we're going to air edited TV programs while we're at Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. It's going to be pretty awesome.
So the deal is, Ken, that they're actually giving us at the Progressive the Progressive booth or Progressive area, Progressive Insurance. They're giving us a whole customer lounge where we're going to have some art set up. We're talking about maybe one day even doing bike games or something, but primarily this area we're going to have interviews with some builders, personalities of note that come through Bike Blues and Barbecue, and we're also going to have hourly airing of this new Grease and Gears Garage programming, which I think is going to be so cool. Like we did the first one already as a test, and we went into Louisville, went to Faith Forgotten Choppers, and on the way we got to stop and see the world's largest Louisville Slugger, and it's way more personal than what we've been doing with Grease and Gears Garage, and you get to see the builders in their environment.
And they've got everything that they need there, and they can, it's not on a stage with a time limit and all the stuff that goes along with it. That's cool.
So over the course of the next week, we're going to be kind of tight on time, but after that, on our travels, maybe on the way back and when we head out towards Texas, if you've got a cool shop or somebody that has a cool shop, hit us up. We're looking for the people that not everybody knows about. We want to come to your shop. And we want to see what you do. So hit us up, send us emails, send us text messages.
It's important to remember, even if it's not a shop where we would do like a full installation of Grease and Gears Garage, we're also looking for those places to visit in between, because that's going to be a big part of this new series that we're doing. We're looking for the hidden gems.
So are we going to stop at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame next week?
I don't know.
That would be a good pit stop.
You've already had one birthday present.
Mm-hmm.
I got a dancing Snoopy.
Which is better than a piñata. So
I got a piñata too.
That's a private story. But so anyway, let me sit up straight because I feel like I'm slouching.
You are. Hey, that brings me to something that's going to be very important that I need to talk to you about.
Okay, shoot.
So Chris and Heather, for the month of October,
yes,
I'm going to actually put it out there for everyone. I'm challenging everyone to do yoga 3 times a week.
Well, listen, I just want you to know my wife and I are both evil, and we purposely left that long, uncomfortable silence. But I'll do it with you because I'm personally challenging myself to lose some of my fat ass in the month of October.
There you go.
So
me too.
So 12, what is that? 12 classes over a month. If you can do it at home, do it at home. I'm going to post every day. One pose, if that's all you can do, that's cool. But I want to see people doing yoga because it has changed my life. Not quite as much as motorcycles have, but it's changed my life.
Right on. Well, listen, man, again, if you guys would like to further our efforts here at Shop Talk, please share Shop Talk on your page.
Yeah,
please do that.
It's important. I already shared it on mine. If you've got another business page, if you got whatever, go and share it multiple places.
It helps pay the bills and helps us keep the news coming to you. As always, we appreciate the time you guys spend with us. I know that especially now that football season has started and the sons of bitches at the NFL now not only have Sunday, not only have Monday night, but apparently Thursday night is a big football night.
Oh, is it?
Oh, gee. That's the first thing I had to hear. You're competing with NFL. I'm like, yeah, not really.
He's a Giants fan. Who cares?
Mark Velasquez, I'm talking about you.
He's not watching. He's probably watching football.
So anyway, we do appreciate you guys being here and the time we spend together. Make this thing your own. Give us some feedback. Let us turn it into what you need it to be. And until next week, I'm Chris. What happened? You cut out on me?
I had to sneeze. Like right as you said that. Sorry.
Let's try it again. He's Ken. I'm Chris.
I'm Heather.
And we're out.